I know there is like a rumor, speculation about this potentially being a work. I know that's a wrestling term, right? But Mark, from your perspective, and you both can speak to this. If it ends up part of even just a little bit of it being a work, or even the whole thing, again, that is speculation. Everyone, it is rumor. Uh, how would that change the discourse of situations like this?
It's not going to change it because in pro wrestling, we always say all they're going to remember is the finish. And the last thing that happens is the last thing that people are going to remember. And what people are going to remember is a vicious, horrible uh, beating that he put on a wrestler that was defenseless. That's what people are going to remember. And I'm just blown away that all of this happened. First off, because our business is so dependent on how much you know, and in this case, nobody knew anything.
Yeah. And my response to that is, if this whole thing isn't a work, an elaborate work, man, this is the best acting I've ever seen then, because I really believe this, and they've got us, everybody talking. They fooled us all. They got us all. They worked
Yeah,
everybody if this is a work. And Mark and I are workers. Mark is a Hall of Famer. So if they got him with this, come on now. Like, I don't think this is a work, but if it was, they all need Academy Awards. I'll tell you that. Hire them all.
let's don't and say we did,
Yeah, Mark's like,
because I'm Emily, David, and everybody watching. Nobody's going to remember this. They're only going to remember the incident. The whole point is, like, you have a story in wrestling, you want to remember the story. You want to remember, like, man, how it started and who was involved, and uh, the Rocky montage. He got beat, he trained and hard, he came back, and he was able to do. There's none of that story involved. It's just complete ignorance on all sides and miseducation on all sides. And it led to somebody being brutally beaten that didn't deserve it. He's one of the boys. Now, I told David the story of when I first came into wrestling. It was a little different. And there were guys that ribbed and tried to mistreat me, and I lashed out. I had some violent tendencies as a kid, which led me to being banished to Canada. When I got to Canada, I had Bret Hart, Owen Hart, and Stu Hart, who were saying, hey, man, you just don't know enough about wrestling. I could have took that the wrong way and been indignant and angry and mad, but I didn't. I listened. I'm like, well, teach me. And that's where I got the knowledge to be able to go to OVW, recreate myself, and be able to come back into pro wrestling and become a Hall of Famer through education, through teaching, through development programs. He didn't have any of it. And that is very dangerous, because as David said in the beginning, we give you our body. Here, take it. Do what you do. Just don't kill me. And we almost saw it. We almost saw it. It was a horrible, horrible thing.
thank you, Mark, for that. David, do you have any additional thoughts on eh, eh, those? Because again, Mark, you shared a really personal moment, right? You've had such a career, WWE Hall of Famer, but you've all had personal, I'm sure, personal stories of things that might have gotten out of hand, miscommunicated. Has there been moments for both of you where you've seen something be prevented before something terrible happens, right? Like how do we take those steps when you're a worker, when you are a producer, when you're a promoter? You know, there's tons of independent organizations around the country, around the world that are trying to prevent moments like this from happening.
I'll tell you, it's one word: professionalism.
There you
Everybody I ever
go.
worked with was extremely professional, and I strive to be the same way. So, like, there's times I got hit too hard in a match, but before I even could think about a receipt, the guy I was working with would apologize to me. Hey, sorry about that. Or here, you can get me one back. And the same thing, if I ever hit somebody too hard, hey, I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to. Tried to be extremely professional. And I hate to say it, but professionalism was seriously lacking all the way around in this situation. One of the things that stuck out to me is, watching that stream, a large portion of it is Raja sitting there just getting hyped up by his chat, the toxic comments in his chat, by the way, which are just winding him up. But he didn't even know when his spot was. And to me, that's wild. This guy is not a worker. He doesn't know what's going on. He knows at some point he gets to get in and get his receipt that he doesn't even really know what that is. But nobody has told him what his cue is, what his spot is, even when the match is. What if the match just happened? How would he know, when to go in? And there's a part where eventually, I think it's somebody in his chat says, hey, you should probably find out, when you're going in. And he gets up on stream and has to go look around. It takes a little bit, and he finds some people and he asks, hey, is somebody going to tell me like when I'm going in? And they're, oh, yeah. I'll come out and sit behind you before and tell you. And then later you see a guy comes out and sits behind Raja and starts talking into his ear. We don't know what is being said, but presumably that's calling the spot. And if it's not, that's what should have happened right there. That man should have been telling Raja, this is what you're going to do. When this part happens, you slide in the ring, and when he turns around, you pick him up and do one thing and get out, stand over him, whatever you're going to do, and get out. But we didn't hear this, but I'm pretty certain that person did not tell Raja, go in there and just, wreak havoc on him. Just rain down as many punches as you could, try to kill him. Like, we're certain that didn't happen. So the professionalism there, where you got to remember, this guy's not a worker. He doesn't know what any of these things are. You can't just leave him out there, and then he has to come ask you. Really? He has to come ask you when his spot is? I mean, come on, that's awful.
It's egregious.
But somebody should have realized this and said, hey, let me just double check and make sure he knows what he's supposed to do.
Like David, from the beginning, we said that is this whole thing is marred with lack of understanding and lack of education and lack of knowing what our business is. Like, somebody in a developmental system would know, hey, these are the protocols that usually we follow. But when you don't have any and you have no idea, I can't imagine being involved in something where I know something is going to happen, but I don't know when.
Yeah.
I know something is going to happen, but I don't know how and what am I taking? I think one of the first things that I would ask is, so what are you going to do when you grab me? How do I need to pose for you? Do I need to help you, or this you think you can get me, or what? We would go through it over and over. I would make especially somebody that didn't know, I'm going to go over it over and over and over. And I've actually done that before. I've had to work with people that had very little to no experience. And when you do, you overcompensate by asking questions. Okay, so when this point happens, you need to start getting close to jumping the barricade. When you do, put your hands on me so I can turn to you. And then don't warp factors number 6, Mr. Zulu, me to the damn mat. He threw him to the mat like an MMA fight. And I can make it look like I'm throwing you to the mat at warp factor 6, but it's because I knew how to work. He didn't know. Why would you put somebody in there that didn't know? I'm still just like, what in the Sam Hill of beans is going on? Why were we doing this? I'm just,
yeah.
It shouldn't have never happened.
Yeah,
and I'm one of those people that you were talking about where I was extremely green when I made it to the main roster. So just for myself, I wanted to make sure I knew exactly what I was going to do, especially if there was a spot like this. I would go over it. I would ask a ton of questions because, number one, I want to protect the person, but also I don't want to mess up. And going into that, so that would even come down to what I was going to do. Like if I was supposed to strike somebody, what strikes do I throw well? How good are my punches? Should I throw a drop kick? I don't know what's going to look good. What can I do safely? You know what I mean? And what's going to look good on camera? What's the other person comfortable with? Like all of this stuff should have been asked. And in fact, Mark, you probably don't even remember this, but I remember one time we worked together and this was early on. And I remember you called a press slam on me, like a military press slam. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember. I've never taken this before. Nobody's ever press slammed me. I mean, I'm a heavy dude, about 250. And I remember asking you about it, and you were just kept telling David, don't worry about it. And you were kind of like, he's like, I got you. Don't worry about it. You'll go up. And I was like, okay. I always tell people this story if they want to know how strong you are, because I remember I didn't need to post. You got me up, just shot me right up. I was like, dang. So that's what I bet was like, I was nervous about it, but you had me and we still talked about it.
And you came down just as safely and as confidently as you went up.
Absolutely.
Because of the education and the know-how.